coming out are coming fast and furious. It's a lot of information, not a lot of time to digest it. So I figured, I would have Joy Sistrunk of Premier Group Services, a certified CPA, a certified public accounting firm, come in and actually speak to us about specifically today the Paycheck Protection Program. What is it? Who does it affect? Is it real? And I'm going to tell some of my thoughts about it, and Joy will clear up all of the myths that people like I have about the program, what it is. And also, if you have questions, now's the time to put your questions into the comment section below. And Joy, for anybody who's not familiar with you, if you can give us an introduction.
Sure. My name is Joy Sistrunk of Premier Group, a CPA firm in the Lanham area. We are working with our clients to get the Paycheck Protection Programs and on their bookkeeping and on their taxes and any other compliance needs that they have.
All right, so the Paycheck Protection Program, let me tell you all, for me, small business, and for anybody who's watching this, now is a great time to share it with colleagues, other small businesses that have applied or are thinking about applying for it, because it's confusing. And there have been so many loan programs coming out. This is actually the reason why Premier Group Services is conducting a webinar that's going to speak to the Paycheck Protection Program next Tuesday. What time will that?
It's going to be at 3 p.m.
3 p.m. next Tuesday.
On Tuesday at 3 p.m.
Anybody who's interested, I don't know if do you have a registration link?
Yes, we have a registration link, which I will put in the bottom of the page on Facebook.
Cool. So anybody who's interested in attending, please follow that link. Now, let's jump into the Paycheck Protection Program. Is it a loan? Is it a grant? Is it tax? Is it not tax? What is it?
What is it? It is, so the Paycheck Protection Program is a loan, but it is a forgivable loan. So that's exactly what it is. If you qualify and meet certain metrics, which we'll get into a little bit later, you can have portions or almost 100% of your loan forgiven.
Okay. Now that's if we spend it on
If you spend ourselves. It on payroll, health-related costs, and rent and utilities. It's very specific. You cannot just spend it on advertising, for example, or business consulting. It has to be on payroll, health insurance, rent/mortgage, and utilities.
And so let me ask a question some of you all may be thinking, but probably won't say. How do they know what we really spend it on?
How do they know what to spend it on?
What we spend it on.
Because you have to report it. If you wanted to be forgiven, you have to actually apply for forgiveness and submit the documentation to show you spent it on the right things to be forgivable.
Okay. So I know a lot of people are thinking, with all of these loans and grants and so forth running around, no one will ever check. No one will ever know. That is not accurate.
That is not accurate. And actually, as of today, they actually arrested 2 people for fraud in, I believe it was New Hampshire, for trying to get a fraudulent PPP loan.
Oh, wow. For the PPP in particular. So
for the PPP loan, because they applied for it incorrectly. Okay.
Now, is there a difference between well, you should know, people should know watching. There is a difference between applying for it incorrectly and trying to cheat the system.
Yes. These people didn't even have businesses. They didn't own the businesses, but they applied for the PPP loan and provided fraudulent documentation. That's different than, oh, I just made a mistake because I didn't understand how to calculate something.
Yes.
So that was blatant fraud.
Yeah. So please be aware. I know. So I don't want that statement to make some of you all go, oh, no, I don't want it to be me. I don't want to fill out something wrong, so I'm not going to do anything. It's not a anything situation. It's when you are doing fraudulent activities.
Right. It's fraudulent activity.
Which, some people, and we talked about this in one of our earlier discussions, Joy, don't become so scared that you do things out of pure desperation thinking it won't catch up to you.
Right.
You really could end up hurting yourself worse than helping yourself.
Exactly. Because it is one thing, like you said, an inadvertent mistake or just a mistake in general is fine. But when you are finding yourself creating documents and doing things that are outside of what you should be doing, you're starting to cross the line. And that is what is going to be. So the flip side of this, which we haven't talked about yet, but once you get the money, there are compliance regulations, and there will be audits that pop up, spot audits related to the funds that some people receive.
Now, that is the audit piece is one of those things too. Are they just gonna, if you get audited, will they zero in on whether it was for the Paycheck Protection Program, or if you get audited as a result of it, they will audit everything?
They will audit the Paycheck Protection Program, but that doesn't mean it can't leave. They can always turn it over for further investigation to the IRS and things like that. And what they would be investigating is, one, did you get the loan with accurate information? And then two, if you applied for forgiveness, did you report everything correctly? Or did you just make it up so that so your loan could be forgivable?
Now, I've heard people say things like, if you're going for the loan, hello, Bianca, so you just checked in. If you see somebody who's applying for the loan,
Mm-hmm.
I've heard stories where it's suggested that they open a separate bank account. I've heard stories where they just put it into their primary account, which I believe by default, you give them an account that they put the money into. But do you have any thoughts about that?
Yes. So they're going to put it into whatever account you gave them when you filled out the paperwork. And at the time, most people had one or two bank accounts that they use. But once you get the money, we are recommending that you immediately transfer it to an account with very little activity. And you're saying why? The reason why is when you have to submit your loan forgiveness documentation, you don't want them to think, you don't even want to give the appearance that you may have used the money for something incorrectly. You want to be able to show this happened, this happened, this happened. And then once the money's gone, close that account. So it's a very clean process.
Now, I'm thinking about clean processes, and for the average person like myself, I am horrible with paperwork. Is it really easy to manage yourself, or is this something where I need to be thinking about a professional?
So it depends, like you said, it depends on your personality. If you know that you're horrible at paperwork, you should find someone to help you manage this process, because again, you want to be able to submit for loan forgiveness. But on the flip side, I've had clients who I've talked to who got the loan and said, you know what? For example, there may be a daycare center, or their daycare center exists inside of a school and schools are closed now. Well, guess what? We're not reopening until September or October. We got the PPP loan, but we're not going to use it for salaries. But it's okay, because I know that I'm just going to repay that money, and they can use it for whatever operating expenses they want, because they're not worried about forgiveness part of it in that way.
And so, you know what? This is great. So for those who aren't worried about forgiveness and considering it is a loan, is there an interest rate associated to it?
Yes, it's 1%. It's 1% for 2 years. So your payments are 2 years, and at the end of those 2 years, whatever the balance is left on that loan, it's due and payable at that moment. Okay. So it is a 2-year loan.
So strategy-wise, I know this isn't the purpose of the loan, but I always have to push the envelope.
I know.
So if we had, let's say, a credit card that was outstanding, and that credit card was outstanding, we knew it was a 13% interest rate, 12.99.
Yep.
Could we then use the loan funds to pay down the credit card, knowing that at the end of the 2 years, we're still going to have to pay that loan back and forth?
Yes, you could. Because as long as that wasn't a personal card, it was a business. We encourage you to use it for. It was encouraged for business expenses. So if you're not going to use it for payroll and rent, but you're going to use it for other business-related expenses, to your point, at whatever interest rate that credit card was, 12.99 compared to 1%, you saved yourself a ton of money. And at the end, you should be able to, in theory, pay that off. So
for those whose thought process is, and it was mine, so I'm gonna be completely transparent.
That's true.
Not to say I don't need the money, but I don't think I'm gonna get it. I'm not really at a hardship right now, so it's nothing I can use the money for. That's not an accurate thought.
It's not an accurate thought, because you don't know this loan is supposed to be used technically over the next 8 weeks. You may not be in a hardship today, but what's going to happen next week, next month, next year? You may have clients that you were rock solid that all of a sudden lose contracts, lose business. Businesses are going to reopen, and people will not be standing at the door to knock the door down. So business, as we get back to normal, we have to adjust to our new normal, and we should be pivoting, but we also have to face the reality that business as we knew it is not gone, but it has definitely changed. And so we can't make assumptions that just because we don't need it today, you're not going to need to use it 2 weeks from now, 30 days.
No, I totally understand why you're doing the workshop next Tuesday at 3, because this is needed information and some of the questions are coming in. So one of the questions, solopreneur, is what is the protocol for a single business owner with independent contractors? What is the funding amount for solopreneurs without employees?
They get funded based on what they reported on their Schedule C on line 31. What did you pay taxes on? So when you do your taxes, you have a gross amount, your 1099 amount, and all the income that came in minus your expenses gives you a profit number. That is what they are basing your payroll protection loan amount upon. So if you reported $1,000, you can get a paycheck protection loan for about $350 because they're going to take that $1,000 divided by 12 and say this is what you qualify for.
And so, that's actually a great point. And I'm gonna repeat the last part of what you said. So even if you all reported $1,000 and you're thinking, well, should I apply for the PPP Paycheck Protection Program? You might get $350. So, if you only made $1,000 last year, $350 is significant. So, right. I had one person, and this was a conversation I had with a business earlier today. They said they made about 130, 120, somewhere in that range. And that when they ran a calculation with their bank, the bank came back and told them they only qualify for $1,000. And that just didn't seem right to me.
That's because people are getting caught up on I made. What you made is your gross. That's the top line number. But what you're telling them is you had to pay those independent contractors, you had to pay rent, you had to pay all of these other expenses, and that gets you to a number at the bottom. And so if they're saying they only can qualify for $1,000, it's because on their tax return or somewhere they reported that they only have $12,000 in net profit. Okay. And so because they only have $12,000 reported in net profit, they only qualify for $1,000 for PPP.
And so if it wasn't $12,000 reported, more than likely something went wrong with the calculation.
With their books and with their documentation, which honestly in this process, we have found that people who aren't working with I'm not gonna say who aren't working with professionals, people who may be struggling with their paperwork, this process, applying for the PPP, really probably made them question themselves because it was brutal because you don't have all the ducks, you don't have all of your things in line. And then when people are asking you all these questions, it doesn't make sense to you. And it's not that you're not intelligent, not that you're not capable, it just may not be your strong suit. This may just show you that it is time to work with someone else. If you couldn't pull all these documents together, or if what they were asking was just too much for you, it's just time to start talking to somebody who can help you.
Is there still money in the system for people who haven't applied?
There is. As of today, I've been working with one particular bank and they have been amazing, absolutely amazing. And I talked to the banker today and she told me I could still submit PPP loans today if necessary. So there is still money available. It has not run out yet.
So
I do believe it's going to run out soon, but it has not run out as of today.
Now, as of today, as of 2:46,
2:46, right?
On 5/7/2020, because a lot of people watch my lives later. So if somebody's watching, and we're still going, but I have to stop for this public service announcement. If you all know you need money, you know that this situation has affected you adversely, and you haven't applied for the PPP yet, and you're looking for a firm that can get you there, Premier Group Services it's at a cost. So, for anybody who's thinking, okay, I'm just going to call or I'm going to send Joy a message, right? There's a cost associated. However, on Tuesday, she will be doing a workshop at 3 p.m. and the link is coming or it's already in the comments. You can attend that workshop. We can't guarantee at that time that the money's still there. And the workshop really isn't for that. It's for what do you do once you get the money? But it will give you a strategy because there are people watching right now who have received funds or who have money sitting in the account, and they don't know what it means to actually have the money forgiven. So if you can lay out, Joy, what it means for us to actually have the money forgiven. Number one, what do we have to do, and what does forgiven actually mean?
So what you have to do is you have to be able to show and support and say you spent the money on at least 75% of it had to be on payroll and payroll related costs. So salary, wages, health insurance, and state taxes. All of that had to, 75% of it had to be spent on that. The other 25% can be spent on rent/mortgage and utilities.
Okay.
Those are, so it has to meet those criteria hands down. Anything else that you pay or use the money to pay for does not qualify. You have moved out of forgiveness for those things.
And forgiveness for anybody watching means you have to pay the money back
You
plus
have to pay
1%.
them back. At 1%, they're going to defer the payments for up to 6 months. But after that 6-month, payments are due and payable.
And due in full, correct?
Not due in full. They're going to do an 18-month scale out for however much money you got.
Okay. So I mean, this is an opportune time for you all to really get a grasp of, number one, should I be applying? And if somebody applied for another loan, can they also apply for the PPP?
Yes. So, for example, there was the EIDL loan. There was the state of Maryland grant and loan. There was the Prince George's County grant and loan. Baltimore. Every county, state, and local government had its own grant. You can and still should apply for the PPP as well, as long as you have either employees or have a net profit in your business. You should qualify.
Now, everyone listening, I see some people quoting you, putting Schedule C up, and they're getting likes, and the numbers are ticking up, so people are watching. For anybody now who's going to the big banks, is there any real difference that you're seeing between going to a big bank and a smaller bank?
Absolutely. So with a small bank, for example, I submitted loans to a small banker on Tuesday. This morning, I had responses, I had questions, I had people with loan documents ready who'd already been approved. Whereas I submitted with big banks during the first go round, and I've just heard from them Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of this week from April 13th. So yeah, it's a major difference. You don't have anyone you can talk to. You get on the phone, you call their 800 number. You are a really, really, really small fish in a super big pond. And I'm not going to say they don't care, but they don't care.
Sorry, but not sorry.
Sorry, but not sorry.
So, everyone knows that on Thursdays at 2:30, I bring this information to you all because as small businesses, sometimes we don't get corporate level solutions. And that's one of the taglines for Bold Vision Enterprise. And Joy Sistrunk is a corporate level solution for small businesses. The difference between her and some others is she's also a corporate level solution for some large corporations. So, you all are getting this information. I hope if you have questions that you listed, we have a couple more minutes, we're going to go. And if you want to share this, please share it now. If you have your situation and you want to ask, your question, you can say it's for a friend, you can say whatever, but please take advantage. I really wish everyone would take advantage of this because she charges a significant amount for a sit down. So this is your opportunity to really get your questions answered. And one of the questions just came in is a person saying, Carly, hello. She said that she's overwhelmed with big banks. And I'm gonna kind of translate that question to my own question. If you have submitted with a big bank and they have not responded to you yet, can you still submit with a smaller bank? Do you have to pull it off the table from the big bank? What can you do in that situation?
What can you do? You should actually still submit to the small bank because you don't know where you are in the process with the big bank, and loans cannot, because they're being tracked by your tax ID number. If the big bank has already submitted it, when the little bank goes to do it, they're going to get a rejection notice and say you already have an application on file or pending. But if it hasn't been submitted, the little bank can speed right past the big bank and give you feedback and get you in the queue, because what everyone needs is a PLP number. It's a number assigned by the SBA. And what it does is once you have that number, it is almost like a temporary authorization for whatever you put on your loan. And they basically set your money aside and slot it on hold while you work through the process of getting the additional documents.
All right, so this is like liquid gold. Now I understand why your company's colors are what they are. So for that person that has trepidation, they're like, you know what? I want to submit the PPP paperwork, but I don't know what's going to happen when tax time comes. Like, are they claiming it as income on their taxes? What happens from a tax standpoint?
So right now, how it's set up is once you get the PPP, and you start using it and it's forgiven, you can't deduct those same expenses on your tax return because it's technically like you didn't pay for it. The government paid for it on your behalf. So those, as of right now, those items are no longer deductible. So it could result in you having a higher net profit and also need to do some tax planning so that you don't get to the end of the year and have this huge balance because you had a forgivable loan.
So that really gives us a 360-degree look at it.
Yeah.
Now, Joy, I'll say, are there any pieces that you would just like to leave people with, like thoughts or a story or anything of the such?
So I would say that we have been able to, I actually had a client who sent me a note yesterday and said, I never in a million years thought based on my business that a bank would give me a loan. Thank you so much. They run a small restaurant. They have all of their employees are 1099s. We were able to get them about $7,000 on the PPP program. It's not, everybody's not everybody's not Ruth Chris getting $20 million, but every little bit helps because in her case, she's on a back street and she's a restaurant. People aren't going to restaurants like that anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
that can sustain her and her business for a little while longer to give her a chance to get back on stronger footing. Because right now, again, everybody, we're going to pretty soon pivot is going to be overused. But right now, we all need to be pivoting and just thinking about our next move and what the PPP money is. It's like a bridge. It's just a bridge to help you over these troubled waters and get you to a safer place. So if you qualify, you should apply while there's still funding available because we don't know if they're going to do it again. Right now, and they're saying they may try to do something else, but who knows? So
Yeah.
while it's there, you need to take advantage of it.
And now let's quickly talk about the fact that there are other loans still available to businesses.
There
These,
are they're slowly but surely going away. So the economic injury disaster loan, if you didn't get in on the first round, even though they got refunded, they had so many applications in queue that they didn't allow any new applications to come out. So
yeah,
that one's gone. State of Maryland, gone. Prince George's County is only available until May 15th. Baltimore County is opening up on May 11th. So if you're in, it's like rolling applications. When stuff opens up, you need to be in the queue. Like within the first 5 days, you need to be on it. And if you need help or if you need assistance, that's what we're here to help you with. So you don't have to just be overwhelmed out there drowning on your own. We're here to provide that support for you.
and let's talk about the one piece. When it says you have to submit the application with a bank, does that mean you have to physically go into the bank?
No, you can't go into, most banks don't even have offices now. You almost have to know someone or submit through their online portal.
So that's just what I wanted you all here, because I think some people believe that they actually have to physically go into a bank. Others believe
No,
that,
you
like
basically
myself,
can't. Mm-mm.
yeah, it will never happen. And I mean, I was lucky. I got a phone call, my first phone call coming in from Lakia Bourne with Synergy. She was asking me about it, and then I talked to Joy about the loan, and I talked to Attorney Beverly Winstead, who berated me for not applying. And with the help of the team, I was that all of them, I was able to get my application submitted. And I don't know where I am in the process, but I know I at least submitted it. And even for me, I had my forms wrong, and Premier Group was able to help me with some of my forms. I didn't. I mean, it was small things I didn't know, and you can't know it all as a business owner, and you shouldn't feel bad for not knowing it all. Because I know some people right now are like, well, I know my paperwork's not right, so I'm just not going to do it.
Right.
They were able to get my paperwork situated within hours. It wasn't like terribly wrong, it was slightly wrong.
Right.
So these are professionals who've seen your situation thousands of times, if not more. So they can fix it in minutes sometimes. Maybe it takes some time, but just the point is, it's not insurmountable. It is, any situation you're looking at is reasonably fixable. I'm very careful with my words.
I'm actually glad you said that. There is no shame. You don't have to, we are not here to judge you. That we are here to really provide support. So if you're worried that, oh, I know, because I hear it all the time, oh, I know my paperwork looks bad. Oh, I know my taxes are the worst ones you've ever seen. They're not. Almost no one, I know the worst one, and I haven't seen anyone yet that met that worst scenario because in your mind, it's always worse than what it actually is. So once you
Yeah,
talk to us, it's fixable. Anything is fixable. So
and we've seen it all. Like, professionally, most people who've been in their profession more than 5 years, has seen quite a bit. And you start going to 10 years or more, you've seen almost everything. And then let's talk about 15 plus. You're
Right.
good. You're in great hands. And that's Premier Group Services. So if they're looking to get in contact with your firm, Joy, number one, where would you suggest they start? Website,
So we have
a link?
resources on our website. They can also give us a call. Our number is 301-577-6444. And they can also email us at accounting@pgservicesinc.com.
If you all go to the website, there's actually a page dedicated to loans and some of the support systems put in place financially for small businesses.
Right.
So I didn't want to say loans or just grants because it's a lot of information on that
There
page.
is a lot. Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of resources there, but you should, even if you're not applying for the PPP, you should absolutely visit her website and just see what resources are out there. And also, it's not just Maryland or not just DC.
No.
There's information that goes far beyond that on the site, with really requirements you do nothing but click, figure out what you need, and click the button. So, I mean, Joy, again, I appreciate you. From how many people shared and commented, I know that everyone else appreciates you. But everybody watching, it is not too late to try. I'm not saying it's not too late to get the money. I'm saying it's not too late to try to get the money.
Exactly.
And we don't know when it'll stop. We don't know what the next round might be. We're all quarantined. We're all trying to figure it out. Some businesses are flourishing right now, and they think, "Oh, I don't need it." I was in that space where I was blessed to doing well, and I thought, well, nothing can go wrong. I'm fine. My business is growing, and after speaking to Joy as my accountant and telling me, you know what, and I think she had to pull that card. It was like one of the few times she did that. She was like, look, am I your advisor? I was like, yeah. She was like, well, as your advisor, I'm telling you to do. And I was like, wow, okay. And I had to do it because even in the space of understanding that there's sometimes people in this that know more than us. They have an experience that we don't have. I had to trust her. And now that I did, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I could have lost a client. Actually, I did lose a client soon after we talked. And so you never know when it's going to happen. Just try to apply. It's a chance to get the money. And Lene, I see you. Thank you for your comment. Lene, say hello, Joy.
Hello.
And yeah, so try to get in touch with Premier Group again. The webinar is going to be next Tuesday, 3 p.m. The link is in the comments. You can always send me a direct message if you need more information. And to everybody watching, have a beautiful day. Joy, I'll give it to you for any closing words.
Well, thank you, Brent, for having me on. As always, it's been, and again, we are here to help. We're here to provide assistance and support. So if you need to, it's not too late. Just reach out. We'd love to talk to you.
All right, everybody, thank you for sticking with us. And I will see you next Thursday at 2:30 p.m.